So the moment you've all been waiting for is just about here. I have been fortunate enough to receive an advanced beta version of the upcoming ToneX Pedal Editor, and I've got to say the folks at IK knocked it out of the park with this one. This is a huge update. There is going to be a slight delay from the time that I'm releasing this. There's a new scheduled release date for ToneX Pedal Editor App, which is now going to be scheduled to be released on March the 13th. But I do have an advanced copy of it here, and I would like to show you what it's all about, what it's going to be able to do, and how it's going to speed up your workflow. So without further ado, let's dive right in and take a look. So first things first, upon the installation of the new ToneX software update, you're going to see that it's going to give us at one stage in the installation the choice to choose which components we want to install. And you notice there's a little box for ToneX Editor. We obviously would want to keep that checked because ToneX Editor is going to be its own standalone app. Now, heading straight over to the new ToneX software, we can go up to our little hamburger button up here and check info. You'll notice here I'm on version 1.9.0, and there's a slightly different look to this, you may notice, and we have two tabs up here, Home and Modeler. The Librarian tab is gone, so the Home tab is where we're going to be doing our work on our models or our presets. Modeler is when we want to go create a new tone model. But the Librarian tab is now gone because we're going to be utilizing that within the ToneX Editor app. So let's head over to ToneX Editor, and here we have it, the moment everybody's been waiting for, the fabulous new ToneX Pedal Editor. And if we start up here in the top left corner, we see we have an editor and a Librarian tab. So this is where that Librarian tab has moved to. So starting with the editor, we'll just come up here in the top left corner, and you'll notice here that we have a master volume here. So now we can control this on our pedal. Now you can't see it on screen. I have my ToneX pedal down here, but this is updating live on my screen on ToneX Pedal as I do this. And the other nice thing is I can also go to that same master volume here, and any changes I make on ToneX Pedal are updated on the editor as I move them. So if I come to my gain knob, you'll notice that the gain knob is moving. And we can also come back in here, double click on any of these parameters, and they're going to take them back to their 0 default position. Moving over now to the top right hand corner, you'll see that we have a little picture of the pedal type that we have hooked up. I actually have the beautiful ToneX White Anniversary pedal here, but this is showing that I have ToneX pedal. If I had a ToneX 1 hooked up, that's what we would see here. And the green light basically tells us that we have a proper connection to that pedal. If I come over to where it says ToneX in the pull down menu, you'll see here that if I click that, it gives me my current firmware version. Then we get to our gear icon. And if I pull that up, this is going to give us some different selections as far as global setup goes. So this is going to be exactly like entering global setup on our pedal. So what we have in here is tempo setup. We could come in here and choose our tempo mode, whether global or per preset. We can come right into the global setup, and you'll see now we have an ability to set our input trim, our main volume, our interface volume. We can control all our external control parameters, the type, the TRS expression pedal, RTS expression, normally open, normally closed switch, and so on and so forth. We can set our single switch assignment, macro tap, tempo, or tuner, and we can set our double switch assignment as well, bank preset or tune tap. We can set our MIDI channel, MIDI through to through, merge or off, clock mode to off, master slave, MIDI or slave USB. We can come into the tuner mode here and set our A reference number, set it so that the tuner is either muted, through, or off. And we can also come to our general tab where we can set our naming convention for our presets. We can set the switch behavior to press or release. We can set live or interface mode, global cabinet bypass or active, USB out routing to stereo or dual, user mode easy and advanced, and reset global setup all together. So we have all of those great global settings right here accessible within ToneX Editor. We no longer have to go deep dive into the pedal. Coming up to our little hamburger button in the corner here, we see that we have our account status. We can restore purchases, clear cache, back up the software library, restore the software library, many of the things we could do in the ToneX software before. And then we also have an info tab to tell us what version we're on. So that's it kind of for the deeper, less obvious functions. Now this next row up top here, we see, as we already talked about, we have our main master volume. We have a revert button, which is not pressable right now. We also have the present tone model or preset that we have accessed on the pedal. And as I go down here and switch this, you'll notice that that updates as well. So I have some of the new vicious this Kitty 12AX7 tone models on here. That's from my newest collection that I have available at the link below on my website if you're so inclined. It's based off an incredible hand-wired Bad Cat Cub 5 EL84 version, which I'm just loving this amp and these tones. So it's just going to reflect what we have selected down here. If we do make changes, let's say I tweak this here, tweak this, the revert button will become active, and I can always click that just to revert everything back to where it was. If I do make changes though, I may want to save them. Now I can hit the pull down button and save as, which allows me to choose which bank and preset I want to save to, or I can just hit save altogether and have it save those changes that I made. And you'll see that every time I make a change, it gives us that option, but we also have that option to revert before we save. We also have the global BPM here. We can do tap tempo, or we can just click it and type in a value. Either way works really, really well. So basically when we come down to the next row, we see what we're used to seeing within the ToneX app. We have our noise gate, we have our amp and our cab, we have our compressor, modulation, delay, and reverb, which we can move around just like we could in the app. We can use the pre-post button. We can make all these different settings however we like and have them function. And remember, we are actually changing these on the pedal. And again, you can't see it on screen, but as I make these changes, I see the screen on ToneX Pedal update in real time, which is really what the whole point of this update was about. Now, a couple interesting things. We go to noise gate, fine, we have everything we're used to seeing, but when we come to the amp and the cab function, there's a couple things we want to look for. So when we're on the amp tab, we see here that we have a pull down menu, and we can choose based off of different selections here. We can filter through, we can grab stomps or amp and cab captures. You'll notice here that we can have them organized between clean and high gain and whatnot. Now, as I change that, you're going to notice something. Keep an eye on the cab. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to change this to this tone model called All on 10. Now it switches, but the cab did not switch. So that's interesting. I kept the cab the same. So this is going to allow us to almost basically like lock the cab like we could on the software. And as I switch through different tone models, the cab will stay the same. Now let me just revert back to the original. If I want the cab to switch also, I can hit the little link cab button, and you'll notice now when I switch to a different tone model, the cab changes along with it. So that's a really important little feature that we would want to be aware of. And again, if I hit the revert button, I end up right back where I was. If we move over to this little button here next to this pull down menu, this is a pop-up window. So this is going to allow us, without leaving the focus of our main ToneX editor, to come into either our hardware library or our software library. It's going to be hooked into ToneX Pedal, and we can grab different tone models right from here. You'll notice that I selected right from the software library and ended up switching that tone model out right from there. So that's really cool. I'm just going to revert back. I can pull that pop-up menu up at any time. I can choose different tone models here if I so desire. I can tell it not to link the cab. We have a little info button here that we can toggle on and off to see exactly what we're getting at when we choose a new model. We can also customize our columns here as well so that we can fit more in or less in, and we can also resize those as well to fit more on the screen real estate. So pretty cool idea there. Again, I'll just revert this back to what it was to begin with. So the link cab button and the pop-up menu are going to be two very useful features that we have here. Now, again, if we go over to the cab menu, we have a similar sort of a thing. We can turn the cab on and off. We can choose between tone model, a custom IR. I don't have any loaded up right now on the pedal, but if there was some on there, we could choose those. Or we can go into our VIRs and we have full control over the speaker cab and the mic positioning and whatnot. But let's just come back to tone model. Again, we have a pop-up menu here that's going to allow us to just choose only cabs from this pop-up menu. You'll notice that the amp is not changing, but I can go through and I can audition different cabs with that tone model. Again, we can access the hardware or the software library here and have it update just like that. Again, if we don't like the changes we made, we hit the revert button, we end up right back where we started. So very cool there. Again, if we go compressor, we have these moves we can make here, and I see them update live on the pedal itself. Tells me what's going on. But these are all going to be very familiar controls, simply because this is going to be the same stuff we saw in the software, except we are now updating it in real time on the pedal, and we can also reset the chain. And obviously down here in our larger window, it is showing us precisely what is on our pedal, and we can choose the tone model or preset we want down here. We can make changes to them, and then don't forget to save though. Here is the thing, right? If I come in to this particular tone model, make some changes to it, and then click away from that, when I come back, obviously those changes are not going to have been saved unless I come in here, hit save, let it sync. Now when I move away and come back, those changes are going to be saved. So let's see how we can work with this in real time. So let's say that I am working with my pedal and I have the pedal plugged directly into my main monitoring system I'm going to use live, maybe a new ToneX cab. That's how I always monitor it. Now we don't have to worry about making the software sound exactly like the pedal and having the instrument input on our interface matched perfectly with the input trim on our pedal. We can simply use our pedal the way we always would. Notice I have a little bit of delay on that. So what you're hearing is one of those tone models from that new collection of mine. Again, a link is below if you're so inclined and want to grab a copy of those. The Vicious Kitty 12AX7. This is kind of edge of breakup. But now I could adjust the gain. Could also decide that I don't want delay on that, and I can shut that off. Remember, we are actually editing this live on the pedal. I could come in here and add some chorus in if I so desire. No, I don't like that. I'm just going to come back here. Change that gain back to where we had it. Like I said, we can also come into the global settings and actually change things like our input trim right from within ToneX Editor now. Change the main volume. We can also control our master volume. And again, if we're happy with all of that, we can hit the save button, or we could do a save as and choose a different location for that. So now that we've looked at all the features of the Editor tab, we want to flip over really quickly to the Librarian tab. And this is going to be very similar to what we always had when utilizing the Librarian within ToneX app, except now what we see is a split screen. It's not bottom and top anymore. So a lot more real estate. We can really see what's on our pedal over here, and we can see a lot more about our library. Now, the nice part about this is we still can take these columns and customize them and resize just to get whatever it is that we actually want up on the screen to see what we're working with. We can access ToneNet right from here as well, and that's when we're going to come back up here and see that our status changes. We also have the ability to auto load, so that if I do choose one of these, you're going to notice it's going to automatically load it into that slot on the pedal. But I do have the ability to revert back to what I had previous. So we may not want auto load on there. We have the ability to filter through liked or all tone models, 10 most liked, and other filters here as well. we can just decide to transfer a tone model or a preset. And remember, a preset is going to just basically be the tone model with tweaks to it, maybe delay or reverb add or compression, or moves on the default state of the knobs. So if we just want the raw tone model just as it was captured, we could just go here and utilize that, or we could transfer saved presets. But we can do that all from here. I can just drag and drop onto the pedal. It'll ask me if I want to overwrite, and I can say yes, that I did want to do that. We also have an info tab here if we want to see more information about what the actual tone model is before we load it up. So a lot of similarities the way the Librarian worked in the past. All right, there you have it. So I know some folks will be disappointed. There's going to be a little bit more of a wait here, but I think it's going to be worth it. The folks at IK really want to make sure that this is perfect, and when it is released, nobody has any issues with it. I really do feel it's going to be worth the wait. A lot of folks are going to be very happy with this update, and it works really nicely. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I'm going to leave you with the full-blown demo video for some of the tones that you heard in today's video from my brand new Tonex Tone Model Collection, the Vicious Kitty Ultimate and DI Collection, which is based off my incredible hand-wired Bad Cat Cub 5 EL84 amplifier. Absolutely loving these tones, and I hope you enjoy them also. So please like the video, share it with anybody you think would get some use or enjoyment out of watching it. Also, please subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content. I'll be back really soon with some more. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in and sharing your time with me. Hope you enjoy the music on the way out. Links are in the description for any of the tones you heard today.